Welcome back to the Street Bandito channel. I'm Tim. Today we're going to show you how to put a carbon fiber roof on your S13 hatch. So this is going to be a tutorial on how to install one of our carbon fiber S13 hatch roofs. We only make the hatch right now, probably make the coupe in the future, but for right now we just have the hatch. So we're going to go through all the steps you need to bond this thing in place of your steel roof. So we started by taking down the headliner, taking the rear hatch off, and taking out some of like the quarter trim and stuff like that. This trim that's on the side of the door. And then we had a glass company come in and pull the windshield and the quarter glass, because you'll see in a minute you need the quarter glass out too. This is a pretty cool car. It's got an RB26, I think. Right-hand drive, imported from Japan. So we're gonna go ahead and start by just showing you where you need to cut to get this steel roof off. So what I like to do beforehand is mark all of the spot welds with marker of some sort. These went along this like drip rail are a little harder to see because there's a bunch of caulk in here. You could use a wire wheel tool and get all that stuff out, or you can just feel from the back side. You can kind of feel like that. This one right there.
Another one.
Cool. So there are spot welds along this side, along the front seam here, and then right here, there's a big boogery weld. And this actually has vinyl on it, I think from factory. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grind away some of this, peel the vinyl off, and there's gonna be one of those like copper seams somewhere in right here. So we'll take the paint back away until we see that seam. We'll cut right into that seam. And then back here at this, underneath the quarter glass, you can see the quarter glass came across here. There's a couple boogery welds right here, 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 and there. There might be one hiding under here. Oh no, there you go. So it goes along here. This is the seam. So we have to cut those as well. Do the same thing on the other side. And then we prying it off. When you're drilling out spot welds, if you pay attention while you're drilling it, you can see the metal kind of change, especially if it's an older car. Let me see if I can capture this. Okay, so we got through that bit of caulk and stuff like that. You can see how shiny that metal is. You can see as you're drilling, see that right there? It's almost like a little bit of rust, the little brown section in there. So that, you've gone past the first layer and you're now into the second layer. Clean it up a little bit, and that's where you should stop. You can use one of the fancy drills. I even have one. It's so annoying to like set up, and it doesn't usually work. It would work for these actually pretty well. But other than these right here, it's kind of annoying to use, but you can set the depth so it doesn't cut through the second layer. But if you just keep your eye on it, you can figure it out. Okay, so when you've come to this front A-pillar section, I bladed away and ground away some of the old windshield urethane stuff. You can kind of see where this, where the roof panel kind of ends. It's overlapped on top of this A-pillar panel. So you want to go from about there to where you can see this. So I just stripped the old vinyl, which is super old and crusty. I'm just gonna grind away the paint, and you'll be able to see the line of where this panel, the roof panel starts, and the A panel begins. There you go. So you can clearly see the line of where they filled that. We're gonna wanna cut right in there. The carbon fiber roof is already pre-cut to this exact shape. So all you have to do is cut this out, leave that exactly how it is, maybe clean it up a little bit, and you'll see when we bond the new one on.
Oh, my man got the fresh PPE. What? I couldn't recognize you for a second.
Okay, so we have got all the spot welds drilled out. We have unveiled this body line. We already noted these guys. We're going to take the cutoff wheel. I'm going to cut diagonally into these just to separate this top skin from like the actual quarter skin. And same thing, I'm going to cut at an angle in here, maybe even a little higher. You don't want to go below this line at all. So you might even go a little higher than this line, cut through, because this panel will continue underneath this panel. We just want to separate that. So we'll go ahead and do that now, and then we'll take the chisel, start separating them.
Love our content? Help support us by grabbing some of our awesome merch. Every purchase helps fund future projects and help bring more of what you love to our channel. Shop now at industrygarage.com.
So now that we've freed everything, I'm gonna get a chisel of some sort. It's technically isn't a chisel, but I've been using this Schwaben tool for a minute. I found that starting here is a good spot. I don't think I cut all the way through, but that's fine. But this is just literally overlapped on top of that nose. So start here, pry that up. We'll be able to get around here. And if you look around this corner right here, you get under there or get in here somewhere, we can start to go across. Just kind of Look at that. Sometimes your drill's not exactly on the center point, so it might have a little bit of sticking edge of the spot weld. So you can re-drill or you can power through it. Especially when you were going across this edge. This bottom lip is gonna move a bit, but luckily you can just, this is gonna get bent down. I'll show you. Trying to find a good spot to get in here. So this is gonna get bent down and kind of out of shape and not in the right spot. When you put your roof on, the carbon section of this will tell you where that needs to go. You set your roof on, kind of tap it back up. No problem. So don't worry about it while you're doing it, just keep on going. You actually had a good amount of rust back here.
Is there any more orange gold?
Yeah. That's what you want to call it.
What's the orange stuff that comes out of crabs? Is that like crab poo?
Mustard? Yeah, I think it's like their intestines and stuff. We Marylanders call it mustard for whatever reason.
Oh, you were serious?
Yeah.
Damn.
Never heard it called mustard?
I'll do it.
How often do you eat crabs?
We used to eat them a lot, but you know, Dominicans don't call it that. They just called. I was told it was crab poo.
I mean, they were not wrong.
But you also gotta, I guess, factor in that grandfather speaks hella broken English. He's been here for all of like 30 plus years.
Yeah. I don't eat the mustard. I like regular mustard. Gives mustard a bad name.
And the front actually went very smooth.
Yeah. It's not as complicated as the back. This does have a center brace. Well, you'll see in a second, I think.
That is a lot of rust.
Ooh. Yes, there was a lot of rust on the inside of this guy. So funny, people see like my roofs when they're off. Like, it's wobbling so much. Like, what the heck? Like, steel roofs don't do that. Like, yeah,
I'm so
dude,
glad
they
you
do.
just said that because I was gonna actually bring that up when
Like-
you did the S13 roof.
Look at that roof. Like,
'Cause they always say, why is there no bracing? Like, if you've
trust me,
seen the original one.
they are stronger than the original by a lot. Another thing is you could technically keep this center panel right here. This holds your front light kind of box thing.
Yeah.
And same with like there's another middle light box. You know, this car has like a bunch of LEDs that run along like these panels. So he's like, oh, I'm not even gonna use that. He just wants to see the full carbon Kevlar roof. The inside is carbon Kevlar as well too, so matches his 6 steering wheel and shift knob and whatever this smacking stick is.
It's the Kevlar stick of life. The walking stick.
Yeah, he's got some other carbon Kevlar stuff on his engine bay too, so it's cool. It'll match. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grind all of this outer surface to bare metal, and then we'll hit it with our epoxy before we bond the roof on, but we'll do a couple test fits first. And in this back section, we're going to have to take care of. I'll probably hit this with the wire wheel tool. We'll put some one-step rust converter on it. You guys keep asking about it. Do I have it, Bob? This is the magic sauce that everybody keeps asking about.
Bring it in close.
Marhad. So it says it like converts your rust into primer, I think. Is that what? I can't read it because I'm showing it to you. Yeah. Converts rust to black primer sealer. Stops new rust. Used on all iron and steel.
So I got it on my Tahoe door, holding it down strong.
Yeah.
Did it on all of the 2002.
Yeah.
And this is
But
also the same stuff.
You don't want to dip. We use like regular brushes or whatever to smear it around. You don't want to dip your brush into this. Like we have those acid brushes that are really thin. Pour it out in another container. Because as soon as you dip a brush in it and you touch any rust and you touch back into it, it'll contaminate this whole thing. It'll be trash in like an hour. But for what we're doing, this is going to be perfect. None of this seems to be like really structural, like it's not rusting through on the other side. So this is all just kind of surface rust. It looks pretty bad, but I mean, I deal with old cars for a living now. So compared to an old Z, this is nothing. You are supposed to wait, I think like 12 hours or something crazy. But what we're going to do is our panel is not going to be, we're not going to put any bonding stuff right here where all this rust is. We'll put it along here, but we'll just grind that away. We won't put any rust converter on that. So we'll set rust converter on this so it doesn't get any worse. And then we'll go ahead and prep the actual section we're going to bond. And then get to clamping. All right, so I have test fit the roof. It fits well. We have everything ground out. the Marhide rust preventer stuff is all dry. So we're gonna go ahead and hit it with that DP420 black. The best adhesive that I've used for metal to composites of any sort. I'm gonna run around and do a small bead around here, flatten it out with an acid brush, and then I'm gonna run around and do the same thing on this side, making sure that we leave no bare metal, like normal. I've done this 1,000 times, but you know, for the new viewers.
Best way to learn is repetition.
Yep. You can see how thin this stuff is compared to that Norton epoxy we usually use. Just wants to run. All right.
What's the working life for this again?
I think it's not as accurate as the bottle says. I think it's closer to like 20 minutes. So it's not a long time, but we've already done some test fits. We already have our clamps in place. We've already done a test clamping. Clamps. So it should not take us any more than maybe 10 minutes. We're probably gonna flip it now. You can grab it by this little thing up here.
Oh.
Yep, and then this, yeah, that edge. Good. Actually, yeah, can you hold it here for a second?
Oh
All
no,
right.
brother. It's so heavy.
All of less than 3 pounds. Okay. Okay. You can probably drop it now. Immediately put my hands right in that stuff.
Glad I had gloves. My pinky would have been sabotaged. Clampaholics 4.
Clampaholics. Get your clamp on.
Damn, son. Where'd you find that bond?
Everybody watching is like, you guys are fucking kids. No, we're just really cool. You don't understand. Okay, cool. So we got the roof all clamped down. DP420 is going to dry. It only takes 2 hours to dry, but it's close to the end of the day here, so we're just going to come back tomorrow. And then we'll do the final reveal, quarter glass, and stuff like that. Terrific.
Dude, that looks so ugly in there.
After. All right, it's the next day. I actually hurried up this morning and I like blended this area a little bit. Basically all I did was hit it with a little 80 grit, put a skim of top coat on it. I'm gonna finalize this later and clear the whole thing, but you can kind of, I demonstrated this so you can see, but like we're gonna do just black all this out, like this same black, and clear coat the whole roof together. I wanted to put it together so you guys can kind of see what it looks like, what you would expect to see. The only bit of body work you really need to do is this little, 1-inch section. No big deal. With all the trim pieces finished back up, the quarter windows are just sitting on here right now, just for you guys, for your viewing pleasure.
Finalized.
We're still waiting on his windshield to come in, so we're gonna go ahead and do that later, get them all installed. But yeah, came out really good. If you buy a roof from me, even if it's carbon fiber, these will already come blacked out. In case you just want to bond it on here and have like a little seam and you don't want to do body work or clear anything, you could just bond it on and leave it alone. Super happy with how it came out. Carbon Kevlar is not really my style, but for this car it works. He's got so many carbon Kevlar accents. He's got carbon Kevlar stuff under the hood too. So, hey. And it's got I finished the inside in carbon Kevlar as well. See if you can get that whole rig in there. So yeah, it's carbon Kevlar from the inside. It's got a carbon Kevlar wheel, shift knob, all that stuff. So, and if you want to message me privately on like, if you want one of my products in Kevlar or something that's not listed on my website, I can do like the Wasp hexagon style stuff. This car is now finished with the roof at least, well, except for the blending, but we're going to be building turbofans for this thing as well. Carbon Kevlar turbofans, of course, which are going to be a lug mounted style. So it's a little different than we've done before. But I've been kind of going back and forth if we should even make a full video on this because it's a little redundant. We already have 2 videos of this. I have a video on my Instagram on a recent set of turbofans I did, but this one's a little different. So if you want to see that, comment below. If enough people comment, then maybe we'll take the time and make a whole video on the Kevlar turbofans. But for now, that's it.